episode of ShotNChop. I am your host, Josh Cannon, and today we are about to chop it up. All right, everybody, I am back with you for another podcast episode. We have the one and only Justice in the building today. He has joined us, and we're going to be just talking about some basic things about being a photographer, as well as other topics within the photography industry. So I hope you all enjoy the episode. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my homeboy, Justice. What's up, bro?
What's going on, bro? That was good, man.
You like that? You like that? That was cool.
That was good.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. So tell the people a little about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you shoot, anything that you want anybody to know about Justice.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think if anyone knows me, they know I don't like talking about myself.
I know.
But yeah, man, I'm Justice. I was born and raised in Richmond. I do own Justice Studio. I'm also co-owner of Blend Production House. What do I shoot? Currently shooting with a Sony, shooting a little bit of everything, honestly, bro. Like,
Sony is king.
Sony is king. Don't let nobody else tell you any different.
Indeed.
Far as me, man, I'm just shooting anything that I can, that I'm pretty much gravitate towards. I'm not really kind of set on a niche, I don't think. I think a lot of people kind of like set early a little bit, but I don't know, man. Ever since I was a kid, I'm just like, I can't stick to one thing. So,
yeah, I feel that.
So just trying to create a little bit here, a little bit there, everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm. So how did you, let's go back to the very beginning. How did you get into photography? Because he is a man of many talents, everyone. He doesn't just do photography. He does a lot of other stuff too. But specifically about photography, how did you get into that and get started? Yeah,
man. So how did I get into photography? It was about at least 10 years ago, bro. My homeboy actually bought a camera, and I think neither one of us at the time were like fully interested in like being photographers. But at that time, of course, we still had like iPhones with like crappy cameras and stuff like that. So it's just like he ended up buying one. It's my boy Jay. He ended up buying one, and I actually went over his house one day and was just kind of like checking it out, and ended up going outside, taking some pictures of like, I think it was something random, like his siblings running around or something. But like being able to like capture that moment the way I was seeing it, and kind of like capturing, like, you know how like still frame when somebody's in motion running, it seems like you just freezing time. I was just like, no, this is kind of fire.
Yeah.
You know, my at the time, my camera could not do that. Like, I don't know if anybody remember having an iPhone 10 years ago, but they weren't doing all that. But that's kind of how I got into it. Like, I never really went to school or like did any classes in high school. But I do thank Jay for that moment, because like without that, bro, I promise you, like I probably would not be a photographer right now. So I do appreciate him for being the first one to invest in some kind of production gear like that.
Yeah, shout out to the bros that got us into photography, because I had a similar story as well. I didn't start out photography till later in life, till after I graduated from college, to be honest. But before that, you know, my past life of being a personal trainer, like the bodybuilder Josh, Cannon Gaines, all that stuff, I was always like making little gym videos on my phone. So that's how I started learning about just cameras. And at that time, it was just an iPhone. And I didn't even have a MacBook at that time. I was just editing on my phone, an iMovie, little stuff here and there. My YouTube channel started off same way. Then I got my computer, and then I transitioned from like doing gym videos to somebody saying, "Hey, I see you got a camera. You take pictures?" Like, pictures. And then just it all evolved from there, you know?
Bro, and it's that easy, man. Somebody see you with a camera now, they're like, "Oh, you take pictures. Like, how much you charge?" I'm like, at that time when I first got my own camera, which was a Nikon D3300 or something like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I got one. I got a camera. Now what am I going to do? I was outside taking pictures of bugs, leaves, you know, things
little
like
stuff
that.
Here and there. I think we all started there.
Yeah, man. But then, you know, people see you in public with that camera. They like, oh, yeah, man, you do videos. How much you charge? I'm like, should I be charging? You know?
Yeah, it brings a realization, a light bulb moment.
But just to be clear, like I never bought my camera to think that I can make money from it. I was just like, no, this is like a really cool hobby, you know? And now, 10 years later, I'm making money from it.
Exactly. So you said you've been doing photography for about 10 years now.
I would say I've been invested and interested in photography for 10 years. Because I think there's a difference between like actually doing photography, like, you know, at a what you consider as a professional level versus like, you know, because I feel like when people buy a camera, they say, oh, I'm automatically a photographer. I'm like, nah, like, so realistically to me, I felt like I've been doing real photography on the way I want to for the last 5-6 years, you know? But I've been interested in photography for the last 10.
Yeah, same here. Funny story. My very, very, very first camera was the Sony A5000. You ever seen that camera before?
No.
It's like the small little pocket camera's about this big, and the screen just tilts out like that, and it doesn't have a lens that comes off or anything like that. Because when I had my YouTube channel for my fitness stuff, I was like, oh, I want to buy a camera. The YouTubers say you need a camera, so I was like, okay. Mind you, I didn't know you needed an SD card. I didn't know that you needed a hard drive. All of that stuff. And then I didn't know what I was doing. That's why I took my very first picture of, I think it was, like you said, a leaf.
Yeah, bro.
I think everybody does that. Oh, a leaf. Let me take this picture. Okay, cool.
Man, you figure out what aperture is and you get real close to a leaf. You're like, nah, I can do this. Like, I can take pictures of anything. It's like,
right.
It didn't take much to motivate us to pursue photography, huh?
Nope, not at all. I've always loved documenting things. Even when I was in college, I was always a person that had their phone taking pictures of stuff. Like, I still have pretty much, I would say 90% of all the pictures I've ever taken. Like, on some type of hard drive, some type of cloud drive, somewhere, I got it.
I'm not the person that is the run to for those memories, but I do have a friend that, bro, he can pull up any moment of your life.
Right, yeah.
You, bro.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I just grew and evolved from there like you did, man. And that's how, that's why we vibe so well. So, all the shoots we've done together, the projects we've done together, I've appreciated you bringing me on for gigs that you've had. And all of that is just part of professionalism in the photography industry, having colleagues that you can call for stuff like that. Because, as we know, not every photographer is like that. Some people like to say, oh, it's just me and nobody else. I'm just by myself. And they don't like to see anybody else succeed or put anybody else on.
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it's just, I think to a certain extent, it's just who you decide to give your energy to, Like, I mean, obviously, like, being a photographer and, like, being a videographer, somewhere down the line has become a trend to other means, like whether they just want to be around more females or whether they just want to just be known for something. So, I mean, it really just depends on why that person that you're interacting with is in it. But, when I met you, I was just like you or like whoever else. I'm just like, I feel the passion behind what you do, Like I feel the late nights on YouTube or like practicing at like 3 a.m, like maybe on like, I don't know, like a pop doll that you had in your room or something like that, just taking pictures of that, different lighting. So I don't know, like I'm really good at picking up energy, man. And I can just sense that from the first day that I even met you, which I don't even fully remember like how we even met. Now that I think about it,
I don't know either.
It's like very,
dang. Now you got me thinking. We'll have to go back in the DMs.
Yeah, I know you got some
like
photos somewhere saved on the iCloud, like you said.
Yeah, but I just know like we could probably go back in our conversations, and that's probably how I think it started. Was on Instagram. I believe I saw your work that you were doing, and it was around the time that you had started doing the studio and stuff. And I want to say it was intertwined somewhere along the lines of meeting Pilar. Because I think she might have been working in your studio when I first met you and introduced me to you. Okay. But I feel like it went back before that, too.
I feel like it was way before that.
I do. I know, because we've been rocking for a minute. It's been like 4 or 5, maybe longer than that, 6 years.
Yeah, we've been locked in, bro.
Yeah, we're like Goku and Vegeta, you know what I'm saying?
There we go.
Yeah. I never forget, there was this moment, right? I'm going to share this story with y'all. So we was shooting a wedding, and like Justice was like across the aisle over there. And then I was holding down the mid lane. I think I was doing the first kiss or something like that. Or you might have been doing the first kiss. But either way, we needed to interchange lenses. So it was just like a moment. We didn't even have to talk about it. We just knew. I like look at you and I was like, bro, I need the lens. So like somehow, some way we ended up, boom, getting the lenses switched out and got the first kiss right at the last moment. It's like a moment from a movie in slow motion. Like
that pass off was seamless.
Yeah,
man.
seamless. I wish I had that documented.
Yeah,
that would have been fire.
But that comes with it, bro. Like all the hard work put in, like all the experience you get from doing other shoots. It's just like you kind of expect that stuff almost, and like unconsciously, I'm like sensing like, oh yeah, Josh needs something. Or you sense me like, oh yeah, let me check on him just to make sure, because we've been in this element, especially weddings. They're very sensitive like event, bro. Like you got to be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, weddings are what I call high risk gigs. Like you can't be just picking up a camera a year ago and thinking you're going to do a wedding successfully on a high level and making a bunch of bread because you missed the first kiss. Do you think you're going to be like, hey, can I do that over again? Nope, can't do that. Like you're going to have to deal with bridezillas. You're going to have to know how to talk to people, like communicate with a whole group of people getting the wedding party photos, or like just knowing before the bridesmaids or the bride even knows what they need for a wedding. Because for me, this is your first wedding, but it's like my sixth wedding. So I already know what's going to happen. I already know what's going to need to be added or taken away to make your day more seamless.
Nah, seriously, bro. Like I remember my first wedding, and it's like, I didn't think that being a wedding photographer at that time was going to drive so much attention to me instructing them on like how their wedding day is going to go, and then they, so you really got to expect it, like, especially if you go into it. So don't think weddings are just like easy come ups, because bro, you can have some good days and you got some bad ones, man.
Yep.
So.
You can literally shoot the wedding perfectly, and you're going to have some clients at some point that's going to hate every single photo, but not because they hate the photos. They just don't like the way they look in the photos.
With themselves, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, you got to know how to navigate that and be confident. So that's why I just feel like weddings, you got to have some skin in the game. Like be a second shooter for a wedding, be an assistant for a wedding, because if you're the quote unquote head photographer for a wedding, they're going to expect you to be able to deliver on the level that they want to for that.
Oh, bro, trust me. Like even myself, like I'll still PA a wedding, and I'll assist, I'll watch. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I can shoot a wedding like perfectly, like exactly every shot that I want, because every wedding, or we don't even have to talk about weddings, but every project is different, and I like to see people in their element on how they handle a situation. Like I love to see you work. Like I think you're like one of the best like people to hit up when it comes to like lighting, to be honest, I
just do what I can.
Nah, man. When Josh bring out that smoke,
hey, come on now, talk about it.
When Josh bring out that smoke and them LED lights, man, it's just like, oh man, it's crazy. But yeah, man, I just like to see other creators in their elements. So I'm always going to be a student of the game.
And I think that's what it's all about, because you're never going to be totally a master at anything within photography. Because there's always something that can change, and there's always something you can do better. There's always something you can do more efficiently. Or let's say, 5 years later, you want to change your style up altogether. You see somebody that has the style, you're like, oh, actually, I think I want to start being a bright and airy photographer now instead of dark and moody. Or I want to start doing more widescape shots instead of doing more close-up steps. So let me see if I could change my editing style in camera. I might want to do more colors or composites, because I know, like, you the GOAT when it comes to composite work and all that stuff. I suck at it when it comes like combining different elements in the photo. So, just being a lifelong learner, it helps you to always stay sharp. So that's why, like, when you call, bro, like, I always appreciate that, because it helps me to stay sharp, to be able to be, like you said, in a different element with another artist.
Yeah, man, I tend to unconsciously do that. Like, I'm always like making sure somebody's on their P's and Q's. Like every time I call them, it's like, yo, Josh, what you doing? You better be doing something productive.
Usually I'm literally sitting right here, right where you see me at this desk.
I gotta stop doing that sometimes, bro. And I'm gonna circle back a little bit about how to keep certain people in your circle that you want to be involved. Because one thing about it, man, as photographers, as creatives, we are our biggest critics. And you can be in moments where the wrong person is hyping you up, and saying like, no, that's the best. You did that. Like, if I'm not already feeling something that I created, and then like this person that, I think we use Instagram as basically a portfolio now. And if that same person is under there, saying like, oh yeah, that's sweet, that's sweet, that's sweet. Like, all right, cool. Maybe I'm doing something right. But now it's like, at this point in my career, I'm like, I can always do better.
Yep.
Even if it's fire, I can always do better. Because I just want to continue to push myself. And I can't have people around me that's going to always say like, hey, you can't, you need to push. I need people around me that say, you can push yourself a little bit further, I need you to critique it as the same way I would, my own work. So that's what I'm just saying. Just be careful, like who you kind of like have around you a little bit, because you don't want that gaslight to kind of like keep you stagnant in a place of like not challenging yourself. You know what I'm saying?
And some people, they're not at a place where they can take constructive criticism,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I ran into a few of those.
And you can, be willing to give them critiques. Like you can literally see in black and white that if they only did this would literally make you so much better. Or maybe you should try this. This will be more efficient. So instead of doing this, and it's not trying to be a know-it-all, but I feel like, my mission in life is to be an educator. That's why I got into teaching. And that kind of translates into everything that I do. Photography, music, fitness, doesn't matter. So I'm never, ever coming at it from a standpoint of being like, oh, I know everything.
Right.
I can just be looking from the outside, another pair of eyes to say, this will help you do this. Like when you called me to help you do lighting. It's not that you couldn't do it yourself, but like having that extra set of eyes and somebody that you trust, and then you within yourself being confident in your skill set, but like, hey, let me look at Josh's perspective of this. And then us two heads is always going to be better than one. And then working with that together is going to make you better. So I think a lot more photographers need to be able to have that humbleness to their work.
No, seriously, but also just being open to working as a team. Like, there's nothing wrong with like working on a project with someone that does the same thing as you. Like, honestly, it's like the best way to work. If I'm a photographer and I'm working with a professional model and I have a professional photographer to give me second opinions or first opinions, we've been on shoots together where I might have like said, Josh, can you help me with this? But yeah, I let you lead, just because like you wouldn't be there if I didn't trust you. Same way with like a makeup artist. Like we depend on them so heavy to be able to apply the makeup onto that model to the point where we probably couldn't do this shoot. I mean, we'd probably be putting in a lot more work on Photoshop.
Right. It's a convenience. It makes our job easier. And like you said, having a team, it just makes it better.
Right. I'm telling you, man, I feel like if I could recommend anything to creatives in Richmond, it's just work together a lot more, man. Don't worry about like who eating, who not. Like, how about everybody just eat and we split a plate, And I'd rather split a plate than somebody not eat at all,
Because it brings awareness that like, okay, if all of these people, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 different photographers are all in cahoots, they all know each other. That is the standard of what you can expect across the board. So like if you got person over here in Shaco saying, oh, I only charge $50 for a shoot. And then you got somebody in Henrico saying like, yeah, my shoots are $500. And then you got you at your studio saying like, oh, my shoots are $200. They're going to see this big range gap. But like if across the board, of course, once you get your quality to be able to charge what you charge, but it's just like, people undercut themselves all the time or try to do it to undercut the other photographer. But honestly, I always tell people it's not a matter of you being better than me or me being better than you. A client, we're talking about clients. Clients might vibe better with you than they do with me. So that's not a takeaway from either one of us, but it's just a personal preference from the clients. Like people connect with other people better than they do with others. So if you keep that mindset in the back of your brain, you're never really competing against anybody. You're just competing with yourself to get better.
I feel like that's what it is in general. You're always like, you think like you're moving in a way that is like, I'm competing with the next person. Like if I don't do this right, the next person will. It's just like you're kind of creating these false narratives in your head. It's just like, man, just do what you do best. Stop thinking too much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you like somebody else's style, it's okay. It's like, ask them, how did they do that? Like I'm at one point in my early stages, man, I did not like to ask for any help at all. It's just like, if I can't figure it out, I shouldn't be doing this. But like, that was so toxic for my career, bro. It's like, if I can't come to Josh, I'm like, yo, Josh, you see this reference photo? I'm trying to recreate this, but I know that you're the guy to ask about this lighting question, you know, or if I can't ask my mentor, Nick Davis, like how to get a certain shot, like what camera settings, because that's where a lot of people get confused at. They don't even know how to use their camera.
Yep. Talk about it.
You know, and it's like that's what I was saying. Like, I can't really call myself a photographer if I don't know what manual, aperture, all this other stuff is. It's like, so it's like if I can't have those conversations with people around me, then I probably shouldn't even expect their opinion or, you know, on my craft, you know, because I know you'll tell me. I'm like, yo, Josh, how's this photo look? You're going to tell me how you feel about it. And then you're always going to give me like, you could have did this too. You know what I'm saying? And I expect that. I expect that from you. I expect that from the next person. So like I said, bro, I'm probably going to be touching a lot on just who you surround yourself around.
Yeah. And that's totally cool because it's a respect thing. If you don't respect somebody, you're probably not even going to ask them about their opinion.
Nah.
Or if they offer, like what happened? Somebody did something. Oh, this dude was telling me, like, I think you should lower all your prices because that's going to allow you to reach more people and your top package shouldn't. I'm like, sir, like, are you even making money with your camera? And I look back at his work and I'm just like, not to, you know, talk bad on nobody, but I'm just like, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but just your perspective of that is how I used to think to where I know now of how I'm trying to operate my business. Like, I feel like I would never lower my prices. Like my prices, like that are actually listed, I'm never going to go down because everything else gets more expensive. You might rarely catch me doing a sale, but the sale is actually intentional, not to give you a deal, but to get more eyes on my work, to get my business out there more. And then once the sale is over, now you're going to be like, oh, I know who Josh is, but this is his real prices. So I'm always looking at things from the bigger picture. Everything I put out on social media or online is always intentional.
Yeah. And everybody not going to get it, bro. That's just what it comes down to. Everybody's not going to understand, but you keep the confidence in yourself. You keep your craft sharp. You charge it whatever you want.
Yep.
Your ideal client will gravitate towards you.
And I'd rather do 5 shoots than to do 500 shoots to make the same amount of money.
Man, if I can just do 1 shoot for the ideal budget that I really want a week, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah. So like on your side, because you're still full time with photography, right?
Correct.
So I wanted to ask also, how did you decide to make that leap and go full time as a photographer where that is your main source of income for you?
It started in 2020, bro. COVID, man. I've been riding that wave since 2020. So I think at that time I had a job that was like many jobs at that time. It wasn't really ready for a pandemic. So they had nothing in place. So, you know, honestly, bro, it's so crazy because I think COVID kicked in on like a Monday. So I'm ready to go into work on a Monday. And like they're like, yeah, you don't really got to come in. There's a pandemic going around. So I'm like, all right, so do I get paid? No. You just got to take off. I'm like, all right, that's kind of weird. And then that week later, they were only really trying to pay people to come in for an hour a week. Like, how does that sound?
Yeah, that's definitely not worth it, especially if it's hourly.
That's crazy, bro. Like, that's really crazy to think about. Like, so of course, when all the pandemic was going on and they were giving out government money and all this other stuff, I was just like, look, I got to do something. I can't just be sitting on my hands, man. And even though at that time it wasn't the right time to still be in like direct contact with other people, I was just like, I always knew like I just want somewhere to create. So I ended up using that money to start the LLC, Justice Studio. At that time, it was a perfect time. Of course, you probably remember like everything was just down. Like, look, we can get you in this, we can get you in that, blah blah blah. So my friend ended up showing me this shared space at Blackbird, and it was a decent sized studio. And I was just like, okay, this could work. This could work. And at that time, they weren't really charging too much, you know, monthly. So I was just like, all right, can this actually happen? So I think it's just taking a leap of faith, bro. Putting your eggs back in your basket. Kind of like depending on yourself. We were always painted this false narrative that like, look, bro, if you don't got a decent job, you're not gonna be nothing in life. And yet, right now in 2024, we're living in a world where kids can make $1 million playing games. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to put my own eggs in my own basket, bro. And I'm not saying that it was an easy road. It honestly, it's a lot more work than a 9-to-5 job, but it's a different level of hard work or like stress. Like stress at a job versus stress working for yourself is two different things.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah,
it's like I look forward to the stress because it's going to continue to mold me on like, all right, how can I figure this out? How can I do it? So, yeah, man. I mean, when I started the studio, originally it was just a place where I can create, do my own thing. As I was sitting there and kind of growing and investing in equipment and things like that, it started to put me back in a place a few years from there on how I was kind of like bouncing from studio to studio, kind of like trying to figure out like, all right, whose studio can I use to get this shoot done? So, and at that time, like not really establishing myself as a photographer, it's kind of hard to get clientele. You know, that's the hardest thing. So I'm like, all right, what if I start to share this space a little bit more with other, outside photographers, creatives, whatever the case is. So that ended up starting, renting out the studio, having members, probably a year or two after I opened, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If I remember correctly, the timeline.
Yeah, but after that, man, I mean, it was such a good feeling knowing that, like, not only can I create here, but like others can kind of like come in and not get charged an arm and a leg and kind of like have not a fully suited studio, but like something that you can at least get started and kind of like learn the basics and apply what you learn at whatever level you want, Because a lot of studios you rent now is like, all right, here's an empty room. Here's some backdrops. Do what you want,
Yeah, that's true. That's why, bro, like, I don't think I've gone to many other studios in Richmond other than yours because of the vibe. Like, outside of us being, connecting our relationship, but it's always a vibe there. Everything's cool. You run things professionally. Everything is seamless. The technology in there, all of that stuff.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, that's just something I kind of prided myself on. It's just like, I don't want to just provide like walls and floor and somewhere to sit and some backdrops. It's like
creating an experience.
Yeah, man. It's like, I want you to come in there thinking, telling your clients like, look, this is my space. I use it to get myself to the next level. I just want you to own it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that. And that's how you get more business, I think. I'm not really a studio owner, but I just feel like you get more business that way from the outside looking in. When it comes to running a business, like, what do you think is harder, being a business owner or being a creative that has a business?
You said which one is harder?
Yeah, which one do you think is harder? So what I mean by that, like, you can be the studio owner. You can be the person that has a studio business. You could be the graphic designer that has a graphic designer business. You know what I'm saying? We didn't touch on that part, but, if you want to talk about it, you can. But, he's a man of many talents. But you can be the creative that has a business or being a business owner. Like, all of the other stuff outside of the creative part, which one do you feel is harder?
I would say, honestly, man, like, running a studio, I mean, it's still under your business, so it still represents what you do. It's kind of like an extension almost, because you go from being known to taking photos and providing a service to now providing a place where people can provide a service, So I think like being a studio owner is a little bit more challenging, to be honest. And I just say that because like it's so many things, outside things that you have to kind of like think about, worry about. Like, you're not just thinking about the person that you're renting to experience, but you're thinking about their clientele experience. You want to make sure like it's 100% like dedicated to them almost. So like the equipment, the aesthetics, and it kind of changes a little bit. It's an aesthetic that I'm used to creating in, but also it can't be 100% me because you have it open to like a bunch of different creatives. So that's the only thing about that makes it a little bit challenging. It's like, okay, how can I kind of like uniform this studio to not just benefit me, but benefit people that are also coming in and, wanting to create,
Yeah, still having a touch of justice, but make it universal to a lot of different people.
Because, when I first had my first studio, I was just winging it, man. I was like, all right, this fits, that fits, this fits. So, like, now that I moved over to Blend, which I'm a co-owner of with Sharif Mosby of Victim 15. I had to kind of adjust like how I wanted to kind of like paint the next studio, even though it's not just a studio. Just a studio is a part of it, the same way as like Victim 15 or like whoever else is a member with us. We're all part of this. That's why we called it Blend. It's kind of like we all blend our aesthetics and talents and together.
I like that.
You know? So seeing it in that light, it's like, okay, now I can still be comfortable in this space, but I'm not being selfish and like kind of like leaving it looking a certain way or like leaving it equipment out and this and that. I want to make sure like people know that it's always ready for the next person to create, you know?
Yep. And I have my little home studio in my shed in the backyard and things like that. And
which I'm just seeing since you've been here for what, 2.5 years now?
Yeah, 2.5 years when I bought my house. It'll be 3. Well, no, more than 2.5. It'll be 3 years next month.
Nice.
Yeah, that's 3 years since I bought my house.
Can we get a round of applause for that?
Oh, 3 years since I bought my house? Yeah, being a homeowner it's got its challenges, especially so having to do everything from the ground up. So I get it. Like I totally get your struggles. So I've seen the old studio at Bluebird, where you started with X, Y, and Z, and you'd be like, oh, I'm about to put this in here, or I'm about to put this in there. And then you go out and actually do it. And like, it just grew so much, bro, to like, I had people that will come back to me and say like, yeah, I go to Justice Studios. You should go there. I was like, I know who Justice is.
Yeah.
Like I know who he is. And that's good. I love that. I love like total strangers, like potential clients of mine, like seeing your work out there in Richmond. Cause you know, I do shoots in Richmond, but I'm not out there like that. So the fact that you're getting all the way back over here, that's great.
I mean, I'm doing something right, I guess.
Yeah, something right as well. And then constantly evolving and changing and adding things and just being open and being for the people outside of just worrying about your space is not just where you do your shoots, but you want it to be a creative spot, the blend that you talked about.
Yeah, man. Like, I think that's one of my biggest things about like owning a studio. Like, and I think people kind of like think I'm almost coming off as like hiding something because they can't believe like, yo, you got a studio, but you're like spending more time. Man, I didn't spend so many nights like straightening up the studio versus like editing my own work sometimes, you know, just because I want to like make sure that, you know, like this is a place where you can actually depend on. So it's just like people feel like I'm kind of like almost hiding something sometimes. It's like, all right, what's the catch? Like you're telling me you give me a fully suited studio, you know, build a psych wall and blah, 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 and you're not really charging that much. Like, what's the catch? I'm just like, bro, just create. Like, just, if anything, just tag us. Just tag us. Yeah. I just want to make sure people know, like, you can create some dope content in the studio.
Yeah, and that's because I meant to ask you this question, but I feel like, well, I already know this. I feel like you're a creative first over a business owner. And that shows in how you run your businesses, like your photography business, your studio business. And that draws in more people. And the cool thing about a studio is you don't have to be the one there shooting to be making money. So you could have a fully booked out day. So as long as you have the stuff there and the equipment and the resources, you know, it doesn't have to be an arm and a leg to rent out a studio. Yeah. Now, if you want me to be the photographer, that's a different story. Because you ain't paying by the hour then. You paying for my time, talent, and skills.
Yeah, don't get it twisted, man. Time is still valuable. Like, I'm not going to just be in it for nothing. But, you know, if I just see, like, a little hint of, like, you trying to advance yourself. Because, I mean, investing in a studio is one thing early. You know, it's like, all right, I barely got this model or whoever you're working with to pay me, let alone now I got to invest in a studio. It's just like, look, I'll help you with anything. And I tell people all the time, I'll teach you everything I know if you're willing to sit down and listen. But it's just having that discipline, I guess, to say like, hey, I probably should invest in some studio time just to help myself out, not just to pay that person to use their studio, you know? But yeah, man, the studio's been a vibe. It's changed my career in so many ways too, but I'm pretty sure you got a question for that. Yeah,
that's my next question that was going to be on that. If we were talking to photographers, right, that want to start their own studio or they want to be a studio owner, What would be some steps that could get somebody started to have their own space in all of that in the industry?
If you want to start your own studio, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I use a lot of finances from those COVID checks or whatever, but I also use a lot of my own financing, and you just got to be prepared for that. One, you have to dedicate a good amount of investment to get your studio to a proper place. And you know us, like, we really love tech, so it's just like, bro, I need the best.
Yeah, I need to be able to have the back cave.
Yeah,
Everything works, operates on its own. If you gave like a ballpark figure, you don't have to share the exact numbers, but about what's the estimate of what you think it would take to get a studio up and running if you're renting, not having a whole building, maybe just a suite or a studio. What's the general price range of starting your own studio?
Let's see. Just to get it like to a good point where you can just start.
Yeah, like, just get started, taking clients and all of that.
It really just depends, but I would range it honestly anywhere from, and I'm being honest, like 5 bands to max 10 bands just to get it to a good point. And I'm only saying that because I have a certain kind of like way I like to present my business. If I can't have like multiple clients or like maybe a client and their family just all in one room and not comfortable. So whether that's kind of like putting some kind of like making sure the airflow is good, they have some water, make somewhere to sit, those things are valuable to me.
Yeah.
But if you're just saying like generally like just having somewhere just to create, I mean, you're probably looking at like, you probably start with like a good 1,000, 1,500 maybe.
1,500. Okay. And these prices are in the Richmond, Virginia area in case anybody's listening somewhere else like California or LA and you're looking at us like, damn, we're trying to buy a shack. We we don't live in LA. So those are just some rough numbers. I just feel like that's good for people to hear because not a lot of people talk about finances. And, maybe this podcast will blow up one day. You never know. And this might help somebody that's interested in starting a studio.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. I'm listing those numbers like 5 to 10 bands off of like personal equipment. And we know how that goes.
That's like if you already have your own camera, a couple lights, maybe a backdrop paper. And those are numbers just starting. Like I have my garage I've converted into a studio. It was $5,000 just for the drywall. It was like another $2,000 for the electricity. It was like another $400 maybe to get the backdrop holders and buy backdrop paper. What else did I buy? The mobile lighting equipment. That's another couple $100, maybe to $1,000. But I mean, I didn't buy it all at one time.
Yeah,
a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I bought over time. The drywall and the electric work. But that's me building something literally from the ground up, not trying to go out and start a studio with gear and stuff for people to use in there and all of that. And, it's just an investment, like you said. So taking your 9-to-5 job and any and every penny that you have on the side from being a photographer and having your 9-to-5 job. And I think that first step, as you have to kind of be a photographer first before you start a studio. Because how can you expect to advise or run something you don't even know anything about photography?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. It's just like if I could recommend anything, it's just maybe signing up for a studio, like be a member of a studio, kind of like see what's going on, or you don't even have to be a member. Just go kind of like do some personal assistant work with someone that's working in the studio and kind of like just help out. Maybe just spend like an hour or two of your time in there. You don't really got to like get paid for it. Just kind of like your payment is kind of like the experience, and you'll kind of see like how much really goes in, because even though we have Blend to a certain point and it's a lot bigger than my first studio, now that I got it to this point, I've outgrown that. I feel like I need a bigger
space. And that's good, bro. You haven't even been there, what, like a year, 2 years?
Actually, we've been there for two years.
Yeah, because not including the time where you were still at both spots, but like officially opening.
Oh, it's been
like 2 years, right?
Yeah, I think we're at 2 years now.
Yeah. How did you go about finding the space? Because I know when I was thinking about having a studio not at my house, and like actually looking for a space, like what steps did you take to find your studio space, the first one and the second one?
Well, the first one, one of my boys, his name is Ben. He's a tattoo artist, and he was looking for a spot. and he was actually working with Blackbird before they even had that spot that we were at, the big warehouse or whatever on Lee Street. He was with them in like a little small like storefront kind of situation, but they ended up finding that spot, and then obviously they're trying to find tenants to book all of these rooms out. So I kind of found them when they first moved in there. So, you know me, I'm like, all right, well, if I'm doing this, I need the biggest room. So,
Makes sense.
So I was just like, all right. And it wasn't really going to be just me at first. I did have someone that we're going to share it. But like I said, COVID was whooping everybody's ass, bro. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say ass, fuck, shit, damn, whatever you want to say.
All right. Just want to make sure. All right. But yeah, man. So I ended up taking it on by myself. And just kind of like molding it. I didn't have like a blueprint. I didn't have like set equipment. Like literally you and probably a other handful of people can really remember from the first moment that I got in there to like the last day.
Yeah,
and
bro, I've seen it from the beginning. Yeah, to the end, bro. Like I saw it when it was just bare walls. I saw it before you put the towel on the floor. Mm-hmm. And like I don't call myself a gearhead, but you know, a couple of years ago, I was always buying equipment. I think it was a point where I was buying gear. It felt like every week.
You sound like a gearhead.
I'm not a gearhead anymore because I don't have the finances to be one after buying a house. But like I would post something like, hey, y'all, check out this piece of equipment. And just be like, where'd you get it from? What's that? Next thing you know, look, he done bought it in the studio. So like he don't play around. You know what I'm saying? And that hunger, that's why I feel like we're so close because like we're like so alike with our savviness to our business and all of that.
I don't think you know this, and I don't even think I told you this, but that one time we were out at Browns Island, I think you had your light out there. That was the first time I used a outside strobe.
Oh, wow.
First time.
At Browns Island? Who was shooting?
We were out there doing like a photography event, and I think it was Aspen, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Remember that?
I remember it was cold. It was cold as hell outside, too.
Yeah, bro. I was like, I need it. I need it. I don't care how much it costs. I need this. So.
And you got it.
You put me onto a lot of stuff, bro. And it's just like, bro, you just got to humble yourself. Like, look, man, I need to ask. I need to ask for help. I need to ask for the gyms. And, bro, you and a select other few people, man, y'all pretty much made Justice Studio, bro, because if I wasn't on Facebook Marketplace finding something, it was one of y'all putting me on to something. So
yeah, and then just like you teach me stuff too, like seeing how you operate things as a studio owner, because you can be a photographer, but that does not mean you're gonna be a great studio owner.
Right.
You can be a great studio owner, but I feel like you have to be at least a decent photographer, unless you're the type of person that's already in investments and have money where you just got bread to throw out, like what's that? It's another one in Richmond. I think it's like Creative Playground.
In Richmond?
Yeah. Playground. It's in the bottom of like a loft apartments. But anyways, the lady that owns the studio space there, she's not a photographer, but she got bread already. Yeah. So like she has like the different rooms and stuff set up. But like for us, like the people that just trying to make it by, like our day-to-day struggles of like financing ourselves or paying out of pocket where something breaks, you got to drop another $500 to get something fixed. And it's just like, how to make things work better when you already have experience doing it.
Right. No, I definitely agree, man. So if you are looking to start a studio as well, I think just kind of like perfecting your craft and how you like to shoot, because I mean, we know we got select brands that we like to use, tethering equipment, tethering lights, things like that. So really, I mean, the studio is only built off of that for me. It's like I only use Godox, so I'm only providing Godox.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have no pro photo lights in there yet.
If I had pro photos and I'm renting the studio, you best believe I'm going to be sitting there over your shoulder watching you the whole time.
I'm in there. I'm in there with you. I'm holding your hand.
over your shoulder. Oh, we're taking this picture together at the same time.
Yeah, don't get it twisted, man. It's like, I invest, but I intentionally invest. Like I don't leave my personal equipment in there too much. And, the studio has its own dedicated equipment. So just if you're going to start a studio and you're going to rent it out to people, just be prepared to kind of like make that separate investment as well. It's like the studio needs its own equipment and you need your own equipment.
Right.
You can kind of like use it when you need it, but don't really expect to always, just don't depend on the studio stuff,
Yeah, it keeps it less wear and tear because you already got multiple hands handling it. That's why, like, I have my space where I rent it out only to people that I know. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you were to call me and say, like, hey, bro, I'm in your area, it's easier. Can I just use your spot for an hour? I'm like, all right, bet. I'm not going to rent it out to somebody where I have it posted. I don't have it posted as a rentable space somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But when you have a lot of people in and out, people that you don't know, just having, keeping an eye on your stuff and keeping things cool and collected.
Yeah. Or getting them to sign something to say you break, you buy.
Yeah, but even that, then you got to track them down after they break it, and they don't always want to buy.
That's a challenge of being a studio owner, man. It's just you want to 100% trust everyone that you let into the door, and sometimes you get a little disappointed when you find out that your light has been broke for like a week or two, or your stand is kind of like doing a left turn now for some reason, but no one told you anything. Nobody reported anything. So if you do want to get a studio, maybe look into some good insurance, or just be intentional on who you let in the studio.
Well, definitely big on insurance, because if anything happens, anything breaks, fire happens, flooding, anything like that, you have to have insurance. I say starting off as a photographer, getting that LLC, that license and stuff. Having all of that backing, because a lot of people, they want to take pictures and they want to say, oh, I do X, Y, and Z, but like y'all aren't taking care of the business side of stuff. That's why, like, I don't take no payments on Cash App. You're not going to catch me sending you pictures on Google Drive or Google Photos. Mm-hmm. You're not going to catch me sending you nothing on Dropbox. Like, all of my stuff, it literally is all seamless. The only thing professionally that I have not perfected yet is my website. But that's because I'm not that good at the website stuff. But
me either, bro. I used to have a website. I don't think I had a website. I don't think I've had a website for the last at least 2-3 years, bro.
I feel the same way. I have mine still, but it's not posted nowhere. Yeah. You wouldn't find it unless you typed it in exactly how it is. I feel like they are starting to get obsolete. Like, you can have a website and it's going to benefit you, but it's not going to make or break your business. Like, I have referrals, and then I have people that find me on Instagram. Or if you do your SEO right, the stuff that you post on your Instagram is still going to pop up on Google anyway. Right. And because I'm personally not a full-time photographer, because I still teach and do photography, I don't want to have everything listed to where you can book it, because my schedule changes so much every day from working with the kids and stuff. So I'd rather you go through me to like get a booking. We have a conversation for me to figure out even if I want to even take the booking to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and where you're posting your work. And then maybe this is a good time for me to interview you, but how do you feel about like how people really depend on Instagram as a portfolio? They're always talking about, hey, I posted this, this is where you can find my work. But like, realistically, you're supposed to be posting that secondary after you put like some really good work into your portfolio. So how do you feel like, in this time and age, does Instagram outweigh like a professional portfolio at this point, or no?
I still don't think it does, because when I think about portfolio, it's not a designated spot that you can go out and look and see. So like Instagram, yes, it is a extension of your portfolio, but I am my portfolio because I keep all of my stuff on hard drives. I keep my stuff on Lightroom. So it's like, if you ask me, hey, have you ever done pet photography? Within 5 seconds, I can pull up a picture showing you.
Yeah.
Have you ever done maternity shoots? Yeah, sure. I can show you maternity shoots in 50 different ways. You ever shot a wedding? Yeah, it's right here. Here it is. Have you ever done a product brand shoot? Yeah, here it is, right here. So what I show on my main page, the Canon production page, I show that as more so my personal, like, I'm proud of this. This is my work. But I feel like people use the word portfolio as like it has to be a destination, like a website, an Instagram page, Caviar, if you're familiar with that. That's where you go to get your work published and all of that stuff. Yes, all of these places are places for you to post your work, but I feel like your portfolio for me is like, I am my portfolio, because I can show you my work, but like for me personally, I'm not full-time with my photography, so I don't really utilize a website to have my stuff up there. So what you see on my Instagram, as of right now with this day and age where everybody has Instagram, you're going to see my work up there. if you want to hire me for a branding shoot, I have my branding Instagram page. You're going to see that work up there. Or if you want to do publications or editorial stuff, you can pretty much go on my Caviar account. But all of that stuff is still tied back to me, like Candid Production. So like if you type in Candid Production, you're going to get a plethora of my website, my Instagram page, my Google listing, and you're going to see my work.
Yeah.
And it's just being in different places. I just think we need to stop categorizing a portfolio. It has to be on a website or on Instagram or here, there, or whatever. But like, you know, if I need to show you something, I can always pull it. That's just how I roll and operate. Everything is in the cloud.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a balance to Instagram. Instagram to me, man, it's like I personally need to do a better job at it. But it's like I don't feel like it's gonna make and break me just because of the way I kind of like showcase my work. Like if a client ever reach out to me, I'm probably gonna point them towards my portfolio before I point them to Instagram. You know, one, it's a little bit more professional, but then two, that's kind of like why I haven't been locked too much into my website because my portfolio can kind of speak for itself.
So where is the most of your work housed? Are you saying you have it on your website or is it somewhere that you send to them?
You know how Adobe gives you that portfolio app to use with your subscription? I just use that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I've never used that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I just use that. So anytime I'm kind of like sharing with a potential client, I'm pointing them there and then I'll give them the Instagram. It's all linked together, but I don't know. Like I feel like if I can recommend anything, it's like make sure like you're just keeping a balance, not just pointing future clients to Instagram because you can get kind of like discouraged with that. Like if you don't get as many likes as you thought on that, you're probably not going to post your next best work. But my portfolio, it's me. You can't judge my art, you know?
That's true.
You know, so that's just where I'm going to house the stuff that I love. So, but yeah, man, the whole website thing, I don't think is needed no more, depending on what you do. To a certain extent, just make sure like your social media, your portfolio, or you know whatever you're promoting for. Like if you're doing headshots, you definitely should be making at least one LinkedIn post, you know, about headshots.
Yeah,
it's like Instagram is cool, but like the business people that need headshots are on a LinkedIn platform.
Yeah, and just the more you can spread yourself out on the internet, the more likely you're going to be to get discovered. Because I think I see having a photography business in stages. You have it to where you're asking your friends, your family to take their pictures. And then the next stage is like, okay, I got to put this somewhere. Where am I going to put it? So the most immediate place that people are going to see your work and your content is on Instagram.
Yeah.
But you know, Instagram's always changing, bro. It's so terrible how like you can get flagged for this. You can get flagged for that. You could literally, Adam Emoji, whatever that man's name is, he could say, oh, yeah, it's not going to be called Instagram anymore. We're actually not going to do pictures at all anymore. You know how many photographers would be devastated? You know, so you can't put your eggs all in one basket, especially relying on social media. It's a great tool when it's working. But if that's all you're worried about when it's not working, that's when you start to crash and burn. And that's, you know, advice to myself, too. I need to do more with focus on not just my website, but like my SEO marketing. So I show up on Google listing at the top.
You're doing pretty good though.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Popping up on my page. I mean, you know, granted we've been following each other, but like now the algorithm usually like knock off people that I've been following for a while just because they don't post consistently. But like your videos, your posts, they're coming in first.
I appreciate that.
So you're doing your thing, man.
Yeah, but I mean, like, outside of that, so, like, do you think that people, well, let me rephrase that. What do you think is the top search engine right now?
The top search engine?
Yeah, like the top one.
Like Google?
Like Google, TikTok, whatever.
Oh, shoot. Like, right now?
I think TikTok is actually almost out-competing Google as a top search engine because you can find stuff so quick, especially for younger generations. So millennials and down.
Yeah, and my top three in no order is Google, YouTube, and TikTok.
Yep. That's my 3 too. Yeah. And it's just like, it's been a shift, you know. We had that scare where they were talking about TikTok was about to be banned. I don't think it's going to be banned. I think that was just a scare tactic to get people more on the platform. But, you know, just circulating between those 3 things, like how are you showing up there? I don't have a great TikTok presence, but like I said, if you type in Richmond photographer on Google, my name is going to pop up. If you type it on Instagram, my name is going to pop up. I'm not a Richmond photographer anymore. I'm trying to actually shift that to be more Colonial Heights, but still, my name pops up, you know, because we're still in the surrounding areas and whatnot. But I think if you focus on that, if you focus on getting your name out there for referral-based clients and stuff, because I get clients all the time that refer me to other people. I literally did a Valentine's Day special, like the Candid Cupid special. That's the thing I do every year.
Yeah.
Then after that, the girl that was in it came back to do her birthday shoot. Then her friend saw that, and then she booked me for her birthday shoot. Her friend saw that, booked me for her birthday shoot. And it's just like that all started from just doing that sale. Remember we talked about sales? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not doing a sale, just do a sale. That would have never happened had I said, oh, here's, you know, my full price for this. And it just is a trickle down effect. So I think we need to be smarter at thinking of creative ways to get people in the door, get more people's attention, because, you know, social media could be gone tomorrow. Good. Like Instagram could be gone tomorrow. So is your business going to survive, or is your business going to flop?
That's an interesting situation to put yourself in. So that's why I said, like, if you're dependent on Instagram just to put out your work and then receive new clients, then you probably should figure out at least 2, 3, maybe 4 more ways to kind of post your work, you know?
Yeah. And that's like, you know, with you have basically a storefront, a studio, physical studio. So people can see Blend, or the clients that came into Blend, they're going to be able to be like, oh, I need to book a session too. Let me go check it out. Yeah. And it's just like so many different avenues. But for those of us that don't have like that physical storefront place to do that, you got to put in the legwork. Like I can see it within my own business, bro. Like when I'm getting boggled down in school teaching and stuff, I can see my photography start to fall off a little bit. Or like when I'm hyper focused on my photography, I can see things slacking off in my teaching. That's why, like, you know, I'm personally not at the point yet where I can leave teaching altogether and just be a full-time photographer. I'm getting there, getting pretty close. But it's just all what you put into it. You just got to focus. You got to be heavy on what you're focusing on.
Yeah. And then and it's kind of like also, are you at a stage where you need to kind of like try to figure out how to let more people or more creatives into your business, on your baby, on what you kind of like started? Because either that's going to go a really good way and they understand what you're trying to create and they're going to continue to grow with you, or they're just going to kind of like come on, say, hey, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff with you, help you grow this business and not do a single thing. So it's just like trying to figure that out too, I think is where I'm at. It's just, I know I want to grow as a team with Justice Studio. I don't want Justice Studio to just be Justice, but what Justice kind of like can create, and who he can bring around the business, the project to get it done, you know?
So as Justice Studio does expand, because within Justice Studios, it's not just your studio. Right. It's we didn't talk about it today, but like your graphic design stuff. Do you ever feel like you would rebrand? So that way it's encapsulating everything, or is Justice Studios, you still want that to be the pillar of everything you do creatively? So
you're my boy. So this wasn't going to be announced yet, but I am revamping Justice Studio 100%. Not 100% where it's going to take away any services that I do. It's still going to consist of photography, but it's mainly just going to be kind of like directed towards like strictly clientele-based branding, entrepreneur, marketing strats, things like that. Still going to be doing my graphic work, still going to be doing photography, but the reason I even have studio in my name and not Justice Photography is just because like I always wanted to house multiple different things, multiple different talents that I do have under one house, you know, that makes sense. But, so yeah, a revamp is coming. I'm actually aiming for next year to kind of like roll that out.
Okay, I can see it, and bro, I'm literally in the same place. That's why I never named my business Josh's Photos, Shots by Canon, or Photos by Josh Cannon, or Josh Cannon Photography, because from the beginning I've always wanted this to be bigger than just photography. Like it's a production, because I might do video. I do photos. I do my education. So like that's something I want to roll out and work on, is having my whole education course. And that's my way out of always being the one that's pushing the button. Yeah. So if I can help out and teach people you can reach 1,000 people having a course compared to only reaching 5 doing one-on-one coaching. And just being able to always evolve. And I think that's something that we have to be okay with, is being able to evolve. It may not always mean changing your name, but like, you know, you're going with the times, and that's where people fall off. Like, you're stuck on how things went before we had full frame mirrorless cameras. Yeah. And you still thinking it's going to work back then before we had social media. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of these, I don't want to say older people, they get stuck in their ways, and that's why they get left behind.
Yeah.
And, you know, our age of people, millennials on down, like, things change all the time so fast. Technology advances so fast. Something could came out last year and it's already outdated 6 months from now. So, and that's only getting a shorter and shorter time span of things. So we have to always change and evolve to be staying relevant with what we're doing.
I completely agree, bro. Like, whether it's a new camera, whether it's new software, whether it's AI, whether it's new TikTok dance, a new TikTok trend, like, you got to be willing to like keep up with all that stuff, man, because like you said, if you get lost in the times, I mean, yeah, you're going to still appeal to like a certain crowd, but you're going to be very limited. But I do like what you were touching on, like even the education point, like, instead of providing like a physical service, you could start putting on some classes and open up your business to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know, not people just in Richmond or Virginia or something like that. So
yeah, that's why I said that's my exit plan. That's my retirement plan, essentially. Go. So it's like I could walk up and on the shoot and be like, look, I've been doing this for 40, 50 years. Like, who knows? Cameras might not even be around by then. They might be like whole holographic, whatever. But still, the eye, bro, the eye will still be there.
Yeah.
You know? That's why the Grandmaster, he's old as hell, but he can still whoop your ass because he got the wisdom.
There you go.
So, you know, I just always think of what's the next move? What's my next opportunity? What's something that's going to keep me doing this forever?
I feel that. That's a good mindset to have, bro. I mean, you always got to be ready for something. Like, I always tell people, like, I know this kind of like cliche, but like, is your glass half empty or half full? You know, it's like, if you look at the world like half empty, it's just like, you just praying on your downfall.
And that's true, bro. That's facts. And that matters because your mindset is such a big make or break thing to your business. If you're always thinking like, oh, I'm not getting no bookings, nobody's going to, you know, book with me or this, that, and the third, or the other side, which is still a negative mindset. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I've been doing photography for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, but is your work good? Like, are you still growing? You're still stuck where you were 5 years ago, but you haven't grown since then.
Yeah, man.
So that's how people surpass you, and that's why you're staying stagnant where you're at.
Yeah, and it's important to notice that too, bro. It's just like, if you're telling me you're still using the same lighting setup from 5 years ago, which some people are. I mean, if they got it down packed, they got it down packed. I don't knock anyone's craft. Like, I don't judge anyone's art. It is what they make it. But it's just like, you're probably answering your questions on why you're still in the same place, because you're still doing the same thing.
You're not looking at what can be changed. And like you said, it's not just about gear. Like, I've seen people still shooting on LEBs and their work is amazing. I've seen people still shooting on T7 Is. I don't speak Canon, but what's it called? T7I or something like that. You know, it's not about the gear. It's not about you having the best studio. It's not about you having a studio. It's just about how willing are you to evolve, change, and learn and grow.
Absolutely. Or just willing to like try something and humble yourself. Like, I'm pretty sure like I can go out here and take some really good photos with my iPhone camera and be confident enough to actually post it. But some people get out here, they'll take a really nice iPhone photo, but because they didn't take it with a Sony A7, whatever we're at now, they're like, man, I can't really consider this as like true photography. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, bro, if you go on my page, like not most of them, but a lot of my pictures are like iPhone. Like, I don't even really be posting like too much of my professional shots on my personal page, you know, just because like I really gravitate a little bit more towards that moment in time where I took this picture with my iPhone versus like a paid gig with a client. You know, it just hits me a little different personally. So.
Yeah, I feel like the social media gurus and the social media influencers within the photography world, because we see them always talking about the latest and greatest, and they have these sponsorships that we sometimes don't think that, oh, I can just take this on my phone. And we lose the fact of like your eye for your art and how you see the world. It doesn't matter what camera it is. you know, it can still be great. And then another thing, we get caught up in, is this the sharpest possible image that we could take? Is this the cleanest image? Is it polished and stuff? Like, I don't think I've ever told you, but I actually love doing landscape photography. I like doing street photography. Yeah. That's not out there in a portfolio anywhere. It's just on my hard drive. And that's for me personally.
I'm the same way. Architect.
Yeah. I like architecture. Landscape, anything like, if I could, this picture on my monitor, if I could take that picture with a drone, that would just be for me. That's not something for me to make money. Like, I still love photography for what it is, not just as a business. It's great that it makes me money, doing something I'm good at where I make the money from it. But I think we get caught up too much in that, trying to be too perfect to where we don't always create art for what art is.
That's 100% true. And I think that's like a challenge for any creative, bro. It's like I told you, being your biggest critic, being in your head too much, and then like willing to put your craft out there for other people to see. It's just, are you going to overthink it, or are you just going to post it? You know, don't think about it too much. So, definitely get it, bro.
Some good advice. I think we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. We're going on an hour with the episode, so it definitely was a good conversation. This was impromptu, nice. Off the cuff, just raw episode. So definitely appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's been a long time coming. Were you over on ShotNChop when it was just on Instagram?
I think, what have we done?
We did one.
We did. Yeah, we did it live.
Yeah.
And that was cool too. I like how that came out. But this setup right here, I don't even think people know that's listening right now, like how much you got going on, like how much you invested into this, like really dope. Like, explain what you got going on here right now, bro. Like,
I mean, it's kind of hard explaining on the audio. I didn't do a video episode today. I didn't have a haircut. You know, it was impromptu, so I'm not looking pretty like he walked up here today. But, you know, I'm running this through the Rodecaster Pro, my board. So that's how you record your audio. We have two Shure SB, I think it's SB7 microphones.
You don't even got to do that. Just explain the intro.
What you mean?
Explain the intro a little bit.
Like the intro music?
Yeah. Man.
Oh, you like that? Let me show you. Hold on.
Listen to this. I pause it. What was that? You recorded that on that's you.
Yeah, so that's like a little bass lick and stuff, and some other stuff that I did add, so I don't want to take credit, but it's royalty free. But yeah, I made all of that, the outro music, the intro music. We got sound panels. So, you know, anything that I do, I'm not going to do a half-ass. So I want it to be a professional experience for my guests that come on in here. You know, this is still shot in my house, in my office. It's got a long way to go, but the overall quality, I hope that you all, when you listen to this, you do appreciate the episode.
And the whole point is, if you're going to do something, man, just do it 100%. Don't half-ass nothing, man. Like, if you're going to get a studio, get a studio. If you're going to invest in equipment, invest in equipment. If you're going to be a photographer, be a photographer. Don't just buy stuff just to say you have it and you do it, you know?
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's just why I had to, like, point this out, because it's not just us recording on the iPhone right now. This is, like, legit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. We definitely got the good audio in here. Pretty soon, one day, it's going to be soundproof. But go ahead and leave the people with where they can find you, any plugs that you want to do for your business, and we just rock out from there.
All right, cool. Yeah, so you can find my personal page, XJusticeLow. Definitely check out the business page, Justice Studio. I want to say I changed it, Justice Studio _. And if you're in the Richmond area and you need a studio to kind of work out of, just vibe at, whether you want to work, go in and just kind of like get away from the world, whether you want to go in there to take a nap, the place is available. Blend, that's going to be Blendrva at Blendrva.
Yeah, and that's the same for the Instagram too, right?
Instagram, yep.
But yeah, so shameless plug. Definitely check out my boy Justice at his studio space, one of the top studios in the Richmond, Virginia area. No, really, bro. So, like, you know, if you need a space, I definitely highly suggest that you check my boy out. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. This was an amazing episode, bro. I definitely appreciate you being on here today. And
same, bro.
Yeah, and we're going to check out. So, peace.
Peace.